a country shrouded in mystery, where the cost of living is surprisingly low, yet remains out of reach for most travelers. A place where the streets are almost devoid of cars, but where some of the most beautiful traffic police gracefully manage the flow of traffic with poise and precision. Dear friends, enjoy this relaxing moment. Take a moment to share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. A nation where ancient traditions permeate every facet of life, from its distinctive architecture and traditional clothing to the everyday routines of its people. Yet, this is also a land ruled by some of the strictest and most unique laws in the world, where the government exerts control over nearly every aspect of its citizens' lives. This extraordinary combination of history, culture, and regulation exists only in North Korea. Join us on an eye-opening journey as we delve into the heart of one of the most enigmatic and isolated countries in the world in today's travel documentary. Here, we'll explore the intricacies of life in a place shrouded in mystery, where the outside world seems almost like a distant dream. Located on the Korean peninsula, right next to its affluent and democratic neighbor, South Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, remains one of the most secretive and tightly controlled countries on Earth. Spanning roughly 46,500 square miles, which is comparable in size to the U.S. state of Mississippi, North Korea shares borders with China, Russia, and South Korea. It also boasts an extensive coastline of over 1,550 miles along the Yellow Sea and the Sea of Japan. Yet for all its proximity to water, the majority of its population has scarcely set foot in the ocean, let alone traveled abroad. In today's globalized world, where information flows freely across borders and technology connects people from every corner of the globe, North Korea stands in stark contrast. The citizens of this isolated nation live in a tightly controlled bubble, completely cut off from the outside world. Concepts like Google, iPhones, or Starbucks remain completely foreign to them. Everyday symbols of modern life that are unseen and unknown within the borders of North Korea. The country's climate is equally unforgiving. Winters are harsh, with temperatures often plummeting to a bone-chilling -22 to 30 degrees Celsius or lower, while summers can be sweltering and humid, much like the heat of Florida. During the winter months, the landscape is often blanketed in snow, creating a picturesque yet difficult environment, where snowstorms can disrupt transportation and hinder agricultural productivity. In many parts of the country, frequent power outages are a daily reality, making the contrast between life in North Korea and the bright, fast-paced cities of places like New York or London even more striking. In this documentary, we will uncover what life is really like in one of the most isolated and controlled nations in the world, a place that remains largely hidden from the eyes of the outside world. North Korea has a population of about 26 million people, most of whom are concentrated in the capital city, Pyongyang, one of the most meticulously planned cities in the world. To live here, you can't simply buy a house or rent an apartment. Only citizens chosen by the state based on loyalty, achievements, and family background are allowed to settle in the capital. This makes Pyongyang one of the most refined cities in terms of its population. The people here are all ethnically Korean and speak Korean as their primary language. Interestingly, their language has developed differently from South Korea over the past 70 years, with some vocabulary and pronunciations that may seem unfamiliar even to modern South Koreans. North Koreans believe that the entire Korean peninsula is a unified nation. If you hold a world map in any country, you'll see both North and South Korea divided into two nations, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, North Korea, and the Republic of Korea, South Korea. However, North Koreans are adamant that there is only one unified Korea. Any map in the schools of this country depicts a united nation with its capital in Pyongyang. While people on both sides have dreamed of unification, the reality of achieving this remains uncertain. North Korea is largely known through media portrayals. It is only by visiting that you can gain a genuine insight into this country, where the past, present, and future seem to intertwine in a way that is unlike anywhere else in the world. There is something special about time in North Korea that you need to know. If you set foot here, you won't see the year 2025 anywhere. Instead, all calendars, signs, and even official documents use the Jewish calendar, a unique system only found in North Korea. Soon, North Korea will enter the year 114, as they do not count years according to Gregorian calendar like the rest of the world, but rather from the birth year of Kim Il-sung, the nation's founding leader. If you're accustomed to the globally used Gregorian calendar, the North Korean calendar feels like living in an entirely different timeline. Most travelers arriving in North Korea by plane will land at Sunan International Airport and head straight to the capital, Pyongyang. As soon as you arrive, you'll feel a completely different atmosphere compared to any city in the world. Pyongyang has a beauty marked by order and discipline, with tall buildings lined up closely together, creating a modern appearance that is not as frantic as New York or Tokyo. Hundreds of apartment buildings rise from 25 to 35 stories throughout the city. Notably, many of these buildings lack elevators, forcing residents to climb hundreds of stairs every day. If you live on the 30th floor and have to walk down every morning to catch the bus, your health will either improve significantly or you'll be exhausted. The people of Pyongyang rarely use personal vehicles. Instead, they primarily get around using the subway, double-decker buses, trams, and taxis. During rush hours, from 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. and from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., public transport is always packed. Amazingly, despite hundreds of people waiting, no one pushes or shoves. There are no chaotic traffic jams like in Los Angeles or London. The streets of Pyongyang remain clean, clear, and orderly. The only thing missing from the streets of Pyongyang is motorcycles. While in other Asian cities like Bangkok or Hanoi, motorcycles are everywhere. Here you won't see a single one. Beneath Pyongyang lies the world's deepest subway station at 110 meters underground. It can also serve as a bomb shelter thanks to its sturdy construction and steel-reinforced doors. Passengers spend about 3.5 minutes going from ground level to the station via escalator. Being so deep underground, this station maintains a constant temperature of 18 degrees Celsius year-round, regardless of the weather, making it a popular choice for many residents. There are no bustling street food stalls on the streets of North Korea, but you might come across tidy little stands where school children in red scarves gather to buy ice cream and candy. There is no widespread internet access, yet people still intently stare at their phone screens, a familiar sight in any city around the world. However, here they only access pre-approved domestic websites. On the streets, you can easily spot North Korean women sporting various modern hairstyles, dressed in elegant, stylish outfits that are relatively diverse in color and type, with badges featuring the two leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, pinned to their chests. They wear high heels and light makeup. Interestingly, if you visit North Korea, you'll notice that all citizens wear badges featuring their leaders. But don't be tempted to wear one yourself, as foreign tourists could face imprisonment for doing so. Not following Western trends, North Korean women maintain a graceful beauty with smooth white skin, bright eyes, shiny black hair, and gentle smiles. Whether you stroll along Kim Il-sung Avenue, cross expansive squares, or descend into the world's deepest subway station, you'll see groups of women arm in arm, chatting animatedly or covering their mouths with laughter. Even when rushing to work or moving through the streets, women maintain an upright posture, walking confidently and somewhat proudly. They rarely seem hurried, not rushing like in New York or Paris, but instead exuding a calm, deliberate demeanor that is still full of confidence. The most striking feature on the streets of North Korea is the beautiful traffic police. In many countries, traffic officers are selected based on health, situational handling skills, and legal knowledge. However, in North Korea, to become a female traffic officer, you must meet 3 criteria: height, vision, and beauty. In Pyongyang, traffic police not only regulate vehicles but are also seen as a symbol of the city. They are typically young, tall, sharp-looking women dressed in neat blue and white uniforms, wearing their caps proudly, standing straight at major intersections, and directing traffic with decisive, powerful yet graceful movements. Even though the streets of Pyongyang have very few cars, these female officers are always present, a quintessential feature of the city. If you look closely, you will notice another remarkable sight on the streets of North Korea: the presence of young men in military uniforms, a familiar and essential image in this country. It's no coincidence that they appear so frequently, as nearly every young man over the age of 18 is required to serve in the military for up to 10 years, while women must serve until at least the age of 23. Military service is not just a duty. It is a part of daily life, contributing to a society that is highly disciplined and militarized. Compared to the U.S., where military service is entirely voluntary, or South Korea, where it lasts only 18 to 21 months, this figure is quite impressive. With over 1 million regular soldiers and 6 million paramilitary personnel, the North Korean military ranks among the largest forces on the planet. About 1 in 4 people here is connected to the military. You might wonder why there are so few cars on the streets of North Korea, in a country with a population of over 25 million people. You would expect to see millions of vehicles on the road every day. But in reality, there are only about 30,000 active cars throughout North Korea. This makes it one of the countries with the lowest car ownership rates in the world. The reason is that only government officials and military personnel are allowed to own private cars. Most citizens get around by subway, bus, or bicycle. On the streets of Pyongyang, you might still spot high-end models like Mercedes-Benz or Toyota, even though these brands have no official dealerships in North Korea. Officials in the country are said to favor Mercedes-Benz, and surprisingly, many Volvos from the 1970s are still on the road because North Korea imported them but never paid for them. In reality, North Korea is not entirely dependent on imported vehicles. The country has its own automotive industry with a history dating back to the 1950s. The Sunra motor plant once focused on producing military vehicles for wartime, but later transitioned to assembling models inspired by Volkswagen, Mercedes, and various other international brands. However, due to its closed economy, domestic North Korean cars are largely unknown beyond its borders. North Korean leaders have the privilege of owning any vehicle they desire. Depending on their rank, they can drive anything from an Audi R8 and Rolls-Royce to a Range Rover, some of the most luxurious cars in the world. Kim Jong-un, in particular, is said to have a rare collection of luxury vehicles. Even though importing cars into North Korea is not a simple process, economically, North Korea operates under a centrally planned economic model, a rare system that still exists in the world today. The state controls everything from production and distribution to consumption. This means that while an American can easily order from Amazon and receive their package within a day, in North Korea, most goods are distributed according to government plans. Owning an imported item, like a can of Coca-Cola, can be a luxury for ordinary citizens. In North Korea, 3 essential services, housing, healthcare, and education, are provided for free. Additionally, citizens do not have to pay for utilities. Their wages are primarily used for food and clothing expenses. As a result, North Korea is one of the few economies in the world that does not collect taxes. How does this affect the cost of living in North Korea? Living in North Korea presents a unique economic landscape, markedly different from Western nations. The average monthly cost of living is approximately $1,597, about 32% lower than in the United States. Housing is significantly more affordable, with rent averaging 79.9% less than in the U.S. A 45 square meter furnished studio in a standard area costs around 900,000 North Korean won per month, though exact conversion to U.S. dollars is difficult due to limited exchange rate information. Utility bills, including heating, electricity, and gas for 2 people in an 85 square meter apartment, amount to approximately 120,000 won monthly. Food prices are, on average, 26.4% lower than in the U.S., though detailed pricing for individual grocery items remains scarce. Public transportation is the primary mode of travel, with costs significantly lower than in Western countries, but exact figures are not readily available. Additional expenses, such as gym memberships and dental care, are difficult to estimate due to the country's controlled economy and limited commercial services. While North Korea's cost of living is lower than in the United States, the restricted availability of financial data and the closed nature of the economy make precise comparisons challenging. With these costs in mind, would you choose this place to settle down? If yes, choose 1. If no, choose 0. Please share your answer in the comments. In Pyongyang, you can also explore grand structures of global significance. One of the most impressive destinations is the Mayday Stadium, the largest stadium in the world, with a capacity of up to 150,000 people. Built in 1989, this stadium is not only the venue for football matches, but also hosts the Mass Games, a spectacular event in North Korea featuring tens of thousands of participants. This is one of the most impressive synchronized performances on the planet, showcasing the unity and strength of the country. Pyongyang is home to some of the most unique and iconic architectural landmarks in the world, one of which is the Ryong Hotel. This striking pyramid-shaped structure towers 105 stories above the city, once holding the title of the tallest hotel in the world for 2 decades. The building was originally designed to feature over 7,600 rooms, including a revolving restaurant at its summit, making it a bold symbol of North Korea's ambitious vision for modernity and grandeur. Despite not being fully operational, the Ryong Hotel remains a stunning and distinctive part of Pyongyang's skyline, a testament to the country's ambitious architectural pursuits. Another notable landmark in Pyongyang is Kim Il-sung Square, situated along the Taedong River. As the largest public square in North Korea and the 16th largest in the world, it spans an impressive 75,000 square meters. The square is capable of hosting up to 100,000 people, making it a focal point for grand parades and significant national events. At the opposite end of the square stands the towering Juche Tower, one of the most recognizable symbols of Pyongyang. This monument pays homage to the Juche ideology, North Korea's political philosophy, and is a constant reminder of the nation's leadership and political heritage. As night falls over the city, Pyongyang takes on a distinct and almost mysterious beauty. The broad, empty streets are illuminated by flickering streetlights that cast ethereal patterns of light and shadow. People continue their daily routines, but the atmosphere remains notably calm and tranquil, a stark contrast to the bustling energy found in many other world capitals. The towering buildings, often constrained by power limitations, reveal only a few scattered illuminated windows, creating a scene that feels both nostalgic and enigmatic, a quiet yet profound reflection of life in this isolated city. Most festivals in North Korea are centered around Pyongyang, the capital, where they showcase grandiose performances that are deeply imbued with national pride and cultural identity. Among the most distinctive celebrations is the Day of the Sun, held annually on April 15th, to commemorate the birthday of the late Chairman Kim Il-sung. This day is far more than just a national holiday. It is a monumental event that involves grand military parades, spectacular fireworks displays, and the world's largest synchronized performances. Tens of thousands of participants take part in these coordinated displays, performing in perfect unison in the Kim Il-sung Stadium, creating an awe-inspiring spectacle. One of the most remarkable events in North Korea is the Arirang Mass Games, which has earned a place in the Guinness World Records as the largest collective performance globally. This colossal event involves over 100,000 individuals, including dancers, athletes, and performers, coming together in an extraordinary display of coordination and artistry. A truly awe-striking feature of performance is a living mural, created by tens of thousands of students who manipulate colored cards to form a massive, evolving picture across the stadium, transforming it into a living canvas. In addition to these national celebrations, North Korea also observes traditional cultural festivals, including the Lunar New Year and the Lantern Festival. During the Lantern Festival, participants release hundreds of glowing lanterns into the sky, creating a breathtaking and rare spectacle that adds a touch of magic to the occasion. These festivals offer a glimpse into the country's cultural heritage, blending the ancient with the modern. North Korean cuisine offers a diverse array of flavors that will leave a lasting impression on anyone lucky enough to experience it. One of the standout features of North Korean food is its remarkable balance of spicy, salty, sour, and sweet flavors, resulting in unforgettable culinary experiences. While kimchi, the world-renowned fermented pickled vegetable dish, is well known globally, North Korea boasts an astonishing variety of kimchi, with each region crafting its own distinctive recipe. It's a must-try for anyone visiting the country. A particularly beloved dish in North Korea is nanpangyeong, cold noodles. This dish has roots in the Joseon dynasty and is traditionally served in chilled beef bone broth, garnished with cucumbers, boiled eggs, and thin slices of beef. The combination of the light, refreshing broth and the chewy, buckwheat noodles offers a unique culinary experience that contrasts with dishes like Japanese ramen or Italian spaghetti, making it a true delicacy of the region. Another source of national pride is Taedong beer, Widely regarded as one of the finest beers in East Asia. Produced in a state-of-the-art brewery using technology imported from the UK, Taedonggang is known for its rich, full-body flavor, which rivals the best premium craft beers from Europe. If you find yourself in North Korea, pairing a cold Taedonggang beer with bulgogi, one of the country's most flavorful and beloved dishes, will offer an authentic taste of the nation's culinary offerings. To fully immerse yourself in the unique experience of exploring North Korea, it's crucial to be aware of the following rules and guidelines to ensure a respectful and smooth journey. First, it's important to note that tourists are not allowed to use a local currency, the North Korean won. While many countries encourage visitors to use their local currency for transactions, North Korea is an exception. Instead, foreign tourists are required to use one of three internationally recognized currencies: Euros, USD, or Chinese yuan, with a preference given to Euros. Additionally, it's illegal to take the North Korean won out of the country, so be sure to exchange any leftover currency before you leave. When it comes to interactions with locals, don't be surprised if people appear cold, reserved, or even avoid engaging with you. This is not a reflection of unfriendliness, but rather a result of the highly sensitive nature of foreign interaction in the country. While there is no explicit law prohibiting citizens from speaking with tourists, the government's tight control over its citizens' activities often makes them reluctant to engage, as they are fearful of any repercussions. If you attempt to converse with someone or take a photo of a local, they may quickly distance themselves to avoid potential trouble with the authorities. Another important aspect of touring North Korea is that tourists are not allowed to freely take photographs of everything around them. Throughout your trip, you will always be accompanied by a tour guide who has the authority to prohibit you from taking photos if the content is deemed sensitive. For instance, old bridges, unfinished buildings, or even everyday scenes such as people waiting in line outside stores may be off limits for photography. However, the most strictly enforced restriction is around anything related to the military, which is completely prohibited from being filmed or photographed. When it comes to statues of the country's leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, it's important to photograph them in their entirety, without cropping any part of their figure, and avoid taking pictures from behind, as this would be considered disrespectful. It is estimated that North Korea has around 34,000 statues of Kim Il-sung, which means there is roughly one statue every 3.5 kilometers across the country. With such a large presence of these memorials, it's clear that if you have the opportunity to visit, your camera will not be as freely welcomed as it would be at tourist sites in other parts of the world. So, it's essential to respect the rules regarding photography and understand that this experience is unlike most other travel destinations. After hearing all of this, you may be considering the idea of planning a trip to North Korea, or perhaps even retiring there to explore its many mysteries. If so, don't forget that thorough preparation is key, particularly in terms of your documents and visa application for traveling to North Korea. Unlike most destinations, visitors to North Korea are only able to enter the country from either Russia or China, so it's crucial to secure your visa from one of these countries. While some cities in China offer flights to North Korea, the most efficient route is typically from Beijing. In Russia, your only point of entry is Vladivostok, a city located in a rather remote area. For those seeking a more scenic and leisurely journey, taking a train from Beijing offers a unique travel experience along the way. When it comes to navigating the North Korean visa process, it's essential to plan ahead, especially for travelers from the United States and Europe. For U.S. citizens, traveling to North Korea is heavily restricted due to a U.S. Department of State travel ban that has been in place since 2017. This ban invalidates U.S. passports for travel to, in, or through North Korea, unless the traveler has special validation, which is rarely granted. On the other hand, European citizens have a somewhat easier process, although it remains tightly controlled. Independent travel is generally prohibited. Instead, visitors must join organized tours through officially approved travel agencies. The visa application itself usually requires a completed form, a passport-sized photo, and a copy of your passport. Processing times can vary, but to ensure everything is in order, it's wise to submit your application at least 1.5 months prior to your intended departure. It's also important to understand that North Korea does not offer specific visa categories for those looking to retire or live there long-term. The country's visa policies are predominantly focused on short-term tourism or official business, and they are subject to strict regulations and oversight. As such, anyone considering a move to North Korea should thoroughly research and comply with all visa requirements, keeping in mind that policies can change, and any shift in diplomatic relations may impact your ability to travel. We've just explored the complexities of living in North Korea together. Thank you for watching the full travel documentary from Amazing Travel Discoveries US. We hope you'll join us again as we continue our journeys to explore fascinating corners of the world. Until next time,